Hey folks, so these are some next level improvements I did on my dim blades, my dim pulse blades. I did add a small strobe effect on the force effect, and then I also brightened up the main blade on a lot of them just by a little bit, and did some more tweaking to tighten up some of the other effects on some of these. So these are my dim pulse blades. It's my Klinger V2 release.
Crystal radius.
This is the silver. Now the strobe I didn't set to black. What I did is I set the strobe to the dim version of the color. So for silver, for example, I set the strobe to like a RGB like 555, something like that. So it's really dim, but it's not black. And then I did that for each of the colors. And then you can toggle the strobe on and off by just hitting the force effect again.
Ancient integration.
This is yellow.
Ignition.
It's red. You can see the strobe is much softer. If it were just a straight black, you would see a much harsher, more distinctive one. This one isn't nearly as prominent. It's much softer.
Photon blade.
I think this is magenta. Yeah.
Crasher.
I think this is cyan.
Liquid static.
This is blue. There's no actual force effect file in this particular sound font, but pressing the power button down for 2 seconds will still trigger it. And then I turn it back off. So those are my updates to my dim. I think that's...
Crasher.
Oh, is there one more?
Liquid static.
Are you a Jedi?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Liquid static.
So, so those are the final pass updates that I wanted to get done for those dim or dimmer pulse blade styles that I've been working on. So in a lot of those, the main differences in those between what I just showed you and the initial demo I did for these is that on a lot of these I cleaned up the clash effect where I wanted a delayed clash effect using with a sparkle layer embedded in it, and I wanted that sparkle layer to be a little bit more prominent on the blade. Before the timing was so short that it wasn't really coming up as much. It was just sort of showing as a normal flash bulb. And so for a lot of those clash functions, what I did was I extended the TR delay values on those clashes, in some cases by like 0.3 of a second or 0.2 of a second, just to get that little extra time on the blade so it could continue to pulse and give off that sparkle effect a little bit more prominently. Also, for a lot of these where I'm using FET263's ripple blast fade function for the blast, I shortened the bump size for the blast because originally I think its default size is something like 32, and in many cases on these blades I didn't want it that long, so I shortened it down to somewhere like 24 or 26. And then also with the green one specifically, and also I think with the blue, I took out a lot of the sort of the white-black color combos I was using for the lockup to try and get that spidery effect. I sort of retooled the color combos on a lot of these lockups to use something more like a lighter version of the main blade color. So for example, with green, I'm incorporating a lot more like green yellow in the lockup instead of like white versus black. So I'm using like a green yellow balanced against like a dark silver, and that color aesthetic I liked a little bit better for these blades specifically. So I kind of stuck with that theme, and so a lot of the other lockups I also retooled their colors. So for example, I think the green...
Crasher. Photon blade. Dark space.
The green one you can tell the most. For example, this lockup. It's a lot more subdued, but I also kept that end lockup color to be a little bit brighter, so it gives it that little pop when the lockup fades. So the main color is dimmer, but that pop at the end is sort of what I was going for. So so those are some of the improvements or some of the changes that I made between this version and the older set of versions. So as always, I'll put these up in Pastebin, and I'll mark these as my Dim Blades V2s for anybody that wants these newer versions. More than happy to keep the older ones and tool around with those if you like them. That's totally cool. I'm not going to take them down. I'm going to leave them up. So yeah, thanks as always y'all for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. All right, take care.